Good morning, students. Today we will discuss some problems related to bodies floating under constraints. So our first problem is a uniform rod of length 2a and density rho is movable in a vertical plane about one end which is fixed in a liquid of density rho dash and at a depth 2h below the free surface. A liquid of smaller density sigma is added on the top of the first liquid. If in the oblique position of equilibrium the rod is just covered by the liquid, then we are to prove that the inclination to the vertical of the rod is cos inverse h by a into square root of rho dash minus sigma upon rho minus sigma. Now let us discuss the diagram. Let us consider this is the length AB of the uniform rod. G is the center of gravity of the rod, means midpoint of AB. This is a liquid having the density rho dash. The end A of this rod is movable in the vertical plane and this depth of the end A from the free surface is given to be 2h. Another liquid of density sigma, this is another liquid of density sigma which is added on the top of this liquid. In the oblique position of equilibrium, this rod is just covered by the liquid, means the end B of the rod lies in the free surface of the upper liquid. We are to find the inclination of rod AB with the vertical. Let us take theta is the inclination of rod with the vertical. So we are to find the value of theta. Now let us take W is the weight of the rod that will act at the midpoint of AB. Here we have taken it as G. G is the center of gravity of this uniform rod. So weight W will act at this point. Second force will be force of buoyancy that we have taken as here. For this liquid we have taken W1. W1 is the force of buoyancy. It will act at the midpoint of AC. The midpoint of AC we have taken as H1. So the weight W1, which is the force of buoyancy, that will act at the point H1. And second force of buoyancy is W2. That will act at the midpoint of BC. The midpoint of BC we have taken as H2. So force of buoyancy W2 that will act at the point H2. Thus we have these forces. One force is W, weight of the rod. Second force is force of buoyancy W1. Next force is W2, which is also the force of buoyancy for the upper liquid. And one of the forces reaction at the point A. Now let us find the values of W, W1 and W2. First of all we find the weight W. Now by definition W is given by volume of the rod into density of the rod into G. Volume of the rod means length into area of cross sections. Length of the rod we have taken as 2a and area of cross sections we have denoted by S. Density of the rod is rho. So we get 2a as rho G. This is the weight of the rod. Now let us find the force of buoyancy W1. Now again by using the same formula, W1 is the weight of the liquid displaced here due to this length AC. So that will be given by volume into density into G. Density of the liquid here is rho dash. Length is AC. Area of cross sections is S. So weight W1 that becomes length AC into S into rho dash into J. Now to find the length AC, you can use this right angle triangle ACP. This is hypotenuse and we are to find the value of AC. So that will be obtained from here based upon hypo, that will be cos theta. This length is 2h. So from here we get the value of AC, that will become 2h secant theta. So W1 becomes 2h into secant theta into S into root SG. Now let us find this force of buoyancy, W2. W2 is the weight of the upper liquid displaced. Here the length immersed of the rod, that is BC. Area of cross section is S. Density of this liquid is sigma. So the force W2 becomes BC into S into sigma into G. Now we are to find the length BC. Now from this figure we can see that BC is given by AB minus AC. Now the length AB, that is the length of the rod, which is 2A. AC we have obtained already, which is 2h secant theta. So W2 becomes 2A minus 2h secant theta into area of cross sections S into density of upper liquid, which is sigma, into G. Now let us take the moments of these forces about the point A so that we can avoid a reaction at the point A. And let us apply the condition of equilibrium. In condition of equilibrium, the sum of clockwise moments is equal to sum of anti-clockwise moments. So the moment of W, that is given by W into the perpendicular distance of line of action of W from the point A, means this distance. Now to find this distance, you can use this right angle triangle. In this right angle triangle, this is perpendicular, this is hypotenuse. So perpendicular upon hypotenuse, that will be sine theta. So this distance, that will become AG sine theta. So the moment of W, that becomes W into AG sine theta. Now let us find the moment of W1. Now W1 into the perpendicular distance of line of action of W1 from the point A, means this distance. To find this distance, you can use this triangle. In this triangle, this is perpendicular AH1, that is hypotenuse. So perpendicular upon hypotenuse is sine theta. So this distance will become AH1 into sine theta. So we have obtained the moment of W1 given by W1 into AH1 sine theta. Also the moment of W2 is given by W2 into the perpendicular distance of line of action of W2 from the point A. This is the line of action of W2. So this distance, this is the perpendicular distance of line of action of W2 from this point A. To find this distance, you can use this triangle. In this triangle, perpendicular upon hypotenuse AH2 is equal to sine theta. So the value of this perpendicular distance will be AH2 sine theta. Now from this whole expression, sine theta will be cancelled throughout. So we are left with W into AG is equal to W1 into AH1 plus W2 into AH2. Now let us find the distances AH1 and AH2. Now in the figure you can see that AH1, because H1 is midpoint of AC, so AH1 will be half of AC, and AC we have already obtained 2h secant theta. So AH1 will become h secant theta. Now we are to find the distance AH2. Now from the diagram, AH2 is given by AC plus CH2. AC we have obtained already, and we are to find CH2. H2 is midpoint of BC, so CH2, that will be half of BC. Now how we can find BC? BC can be obtained by subtracting the length AC from the length AB. So BC is given by AB minus AC. So we have obtained all the distances. Now we can substitute all these values in this equation 1. So finally, the equation 1 becomes W into A is equal to W1 into h secant theta plus W2 into A plus H secant theta. Now we have already obtained the values of W, W1 and W2. The value of W is 2AS rho G. Value of W1 is 2H secant theta into S into rho dash. The value of W2 is 2A minus 2H secant theta into S into sigma into G. So after substituting the values of W, W1 and W2, and we can combine the terms having secant square theta. From there, by taking reciprocals, we can find the value of cos square theta, which is given by H square upon A square into rho dash minus sigma upon rho minus sigma. So let us take square root on both sides. So we get the value of cos theta, which is given by H upon A into the square root of rho dash minus sigma upon rho minus sigma. So this is the required expression for the angle theta. Now, in the next problem, we are having a thin uniform wooden rod AB, which is in equilibrium in an inclined position with one end AC immersed in a bowl of water and one point D supported on the edge of the bowl. We are to show that the specific gravity sigma of the wood is given by AC upon AB multiplied with 2AD minus AC upon 2AD minus AB. In the second part, we are to find the greatest fraction of the length of the rod which can remain immersed. And we are to prove that it is given by 1 minus under root of 1 minus sigma. Now let us discuss the figure for this problem. This is a bowl and this rod AB, this is a thin uniform rod which is in equilibrium in the inclined position. One end AC that is immersed in this bowl of water and one point D, this is supported on the edge of the bowl. Let us take G is the midpoint of rod AB. So the weight of this uniform rod that will act at the point G. The weight of the rod we have taken as W. So that will act vertically downward at the point G. AC is the immersed part of the rod, and let us take H is the midpoint of AC. So the force of buoyancy, which we have denoted by W1, that will act upward through the point H. Let us take theta is the angle made by the rod with the vertical. Now let us discuss what are the forces acting on this rod. There are three forces acting on this rod. One will be weight of the rod, second will be force of buoyancy W1, and third force will be reaction, because the rod is being supported at the point D. So the force of reaction will occur at the point D. So we have three forces in all. Now let us find the values of W and W1. Now weight of the rod is W by the formula volume into density into G. Volume is given by area of cross sections into length. Length is AB. Area of cross sections we have taken as S. Density of the rod we have denoted by sigma. So the weight becomes length AB into S into sigma into G. Now next we find the force of buoyancy W1, which is given by the length of immersed part AC into area of cross sections into density into G. The density of the water we have taken as 1, and rod is being supported at the point D. Force of reaction is R. Now let us apply the conditions of equilibrium. In the condition of equilibrium, the sum of clockwise moments is equal to sum of anti-clockwise moments. Now the moment of W, that is given by W into the perpendicular distance of line of action of W from the point D. This distance GD. You can find GD from this triangle. In this triangle, this is perpendicular, this is hypotenuse, this angle is theta. So this distance will become GD sine theta. Now let us find the moment of W1. That will be given by W1 into this distance. Now this distance you can find from this right angle triangle. In this triangle, DH, that is hypotenuse, this is perpendicular, this angle is theta. So this distance will be given by DH sine theta. So the moment of W1 is given by W1 into DH sine theta. Moment of W is given by W into GD sine theta. Sine theta will be cancelled out from both sides. So we are left with W1 into HD is equal to W into GD. Now it remains to find these two distances, HD and GD. Now from this diagram, you can see that how can we find HD? HD is the difference of AD and AH. Now, what is AH? Because H is midpoint of AC. So AH will be half of AC. So the length HD, that becomes half of 2AD minus AC. Now let us find GD. Now from the figure, GD, that is given by AD minus AG. AG, because G is midpoint of AB, so AG will be half of AB. So the length GD is given by half into 2AD minus AB. Now we can substitute all these values in the equation 1. So substituting the values here, we will get the value of sigma, which is given by AC upon AB into 2AD minus AC upon 2AD minus AB. So we have obtained the specific gravity sigma of the wood. Now in the second part, we are to find the greatest fraction of the length of the rod which can remain immersed. Now we can see that the greatest part of the rod will be immersed when these 2 points B and D, they coincides. So in this expression, let us replace the point D by the point D here, and let us take the ratio AC upon AB, that is denoted by X. So we can substitute this value here. So sigma will become X into 2 AD AC, that will become, in this case, sigma is equal to X into 2 AB minus AC upon 2 AB minus AB. We have replaced D by B. So AD will be same as AB. So sigma becomes X into 2 minus AC upon AB. Now AC upon AB we have taken as X. So this will become sigma is equal to X into 2 minus X. And let us find 1 minus sigma. So 1 minus sigma means 1 minus X into 2 minus X. Now multiplying, this can be written as 1 minus sigma is equal to 1 minus X whole square. Taking square root on both sides, we get the value of 1 minus X, which is given by square root of 1 minus sigma. So from here, the value of X is obtained, which is 1 minus square root of 1 minus sigma. Now substituting the value of X here, X is the ratio of AC and AB. So AC upon AB is equal to 1 minus under root 1 minus sigma. So from here we have obtained the length AC, which is given by 1 minus under root 1 minus sigma whole multiplied with AB. So this proves that the greatest fraction of the length of the rod which can remain immersed, that is given by 1 minus square root of 1 minus sigma. So this completes the solution of this problem.